channeling the spell. This is going to be a Fire Raga. It doesn't kill Summer Hell, and it kills Naiad to land a kill. Oh my god! Here, apparently not, because she is going for the back line. This is instant casting. Might have a chance. It is it. Oh no! What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 4, Week 6 of the Heindler League. And taking a look at the standings here, we have a ton of teams who are competing for some of those top playoff spots. It's absolutely crazy how many teams we have with really good records. But let's take a look at this before we head into the matchups, guys. So first of all, as you'll notice, we have 6 different teams with a 5-2 record. We have King, coach of the Kansas City Kings, Xeno, coach of Polarity, Impaler, coach of Three-Legged Pants, OdaibaDiver and his diving school, Daewn, coach of Inquisition, and LucianRamz of Lone Shadows. All 6 of these teams are currently 5-2. Now, the top 6 teams make the playoffs after all of the battles are finished. And as of right now, obviously those would be the 6 teams, but it's crazy that they all have the same record. However, a lot of these teams have yet to play each other, and that'll get really interesting as we, kind of get through these last few weeks. Kayuma, coach of Seas, is currently sitting at 4-3. One thing I will shout out, this league was originally 12 teams. We had the 12th team coached by 6-8 who actually dropped out of the WDL, and any match that would have been played against 6-8 is going to be a forfeit victory for the opposing team. Kayuma is that team this week, so even though they are sitting at 4-3, they're essentially 5-3. So any of these 5-2 teams that lose will basically be on the same spot as Kayuma. So even though it's only 6 5-2 teams, it's close to 7. Catrah, coach of Sandrock, currently sitting at 3-4. This week plays up against Snark, coach of Arise from the Crashes, at 2-5. So obviously those two teams are really up against it to try and crack that top 6 with so many good records, but neither one of them are out of it. Same with Maughanman, coach of Dirty Slushie. And believe it or not, Dr. Dickhead, coach of the Knobgoblins. All these teams pretty much have to win out to have an opportunity to make the playoffs, but it's not over until it's over. So that is what the standings look like for you now, you guys. Before we head into the battles, I just wanted to mention really quick, the WDL is not going to have any videos next week. I'm going to be going on vacation. I'll be in Florida for a week, enjoying the nice sunny weather instead of this cold shit that we're dealing here in the Midwest. So I'm really looking forward to that, but just keep that in mind. Next week, there will be no WDL videos. However, coming up in the next week or two, I won't say too much about it, but I'm probably going to be posting a video or two of a game not related to War of the Visions. I hope you guys at least check it out, and I hope it's entertaining. If it's not going to hurt my feelings, but I hope you guys enjoy it nonetheless. But regardless, we have a bunch of good fights to head into, you guys. We've got 5 of them. Let's jump into them. Week number 6 of the Heindler League about to kick off here. We've got Snark versus Catrah, Arise from the Crashes versus Sandrock. 2 teams really in need of a win to try and keep pace for the playoffs here. As Okay, I Quit is the name for Snark on the left side here, rocking an Esther, Hio, and Marguerite team. On the other side, though, Summer, Helena, Tifa, and Ravi's for Catrah. We'll see how it comes out. Striking Fragrance. I don't know whose TMR that is. Strike Attack up alongside with AP Auto Restore. Very, very interesting. Is that 2 Ps or something? Or maybe the new... I don't know whose TMR that is, but Steelheart comes out on the hasted Hio. It does not land. The charm misses crucially for Snark, as I think this fight probably would have been pretty much over if that landed. But Heat Drive, my goodness. 11,000 damage onto the tank. I don't even know if you can call her that if she's taking that kind of damage, as Esther comes through with a Surging Storm, and good lord, this Ravi's is down already after 2 attacks. That is not a good sign for Catrah, as Summer Helena go with Magical Temptations, getting some of that damage up. But man, is it going to matter with Ravi's already be down for the count? Overpower Plus is going to do barely anything to the Hio. He just shakes it off with his firm resolve. Says, hey, I'm full HP still, baby, as Marguerite comes in with a Quicken. And this is going to be a painful hit. If the damage on Ravi shows anything, the Soul Blade misses, though, actually. So actually, it's 0 damage, not painful at all. Tifa just says, no, thank you, I'll sidestep that. Stormbrand, though, damage caps the Tifa, and I think you guys can probably see why this is doing so much damage. I think this is a full evasion team coming out from Catrah, if I had any guess, as they are not tanking the damage. Question is just whether or not Snark can hit. The limit break coming up from Summer Helena, though, only hits Heo, and he has got the 100% reaction rate here as he just keeps healing things off. Heat Drive for another 10k, and this fight was wild, as Arise from the Crashes basically just one-shots everybody that they went up against in this fight. I cannot skip this video. I went to a different one. It's irrelevant. But anyway, Rise from the Crashes picks up a dominant win. Congratulations. Next up to bat, we've got a really good one here for you guys. We've got Lone Shadows versus Kansas City Kings, two teams that are 5-2 currently going up against each other. And who's going to get the better end of this deal as Lone Shadows, coached by LucianRamz, rocking the same team he did in both fights last week. It is the Shadowlings Pissarro plus Lena team. And on the other side from Kansas City Kings, a team we've seen multiple times as well. Montleonis, Moore, and King Bradley. So who's going to get the better end of this deal here? As Shared Blessings coming out from the Lena. Very nice to give that re-raise to the Shadowlings. And it looks like Calamity Guard going to hit the 2 Earth units on King's side here. As Montleonis is going to go Boon of the Lion. Thought it might be a Keenblade for a second, but it's not. He's going to use that AoE Resist TMR. And he is a very healthy tank, currently sitting with 15,000 health. And the Pissarro TMR is not used by himself, it is used by the Lena, as he is going to get his courage up, he is going to walk forward, and the question, as always with this kind of team, is what is the accuracy like in terms of King? Obviously, King Bradley's Calculated Ren gives an increased hit chance. I think he has actually 2 different skills where he can have an increased hit chance, but he doesn't have those guaranteed hits typically, as Moore is going to start channeling another spell. I do wonder if it's a Calamity Guard this time just on herself. It is going to be. So now everybody on the Kansas City Kings has a 1-hit barrier, and will that be able to do anything for them, as Lena is actually fresh out of buffs. She's just going to start moving towards the fight. Treasures Hunter's Fortune going to get refreshed here as agility and luck is up for the Lone Shadows. Is it going to be enough for the accuracy? In terms of Montleonis, does he have his guaranteed hit turned on or off? Excuse me, he only has 1 in the kit. It's not as strong as attack. But we'll see, as King Bradley's going to use his own TMR. Shadowlings, with all of that movement, is actually able to find the tank, kind of unfortunately for LucianRamz, as Dark Haze is shaken off like it's nothing by the Mont. Only 500 damage is very, very little. As Bursting Light comes out, this is a guaranteed hit, 2,600 damage. Going to get that evasion out, but it won't matter if she's able to use more guaranteed hits. Aeroga 5 used by Lena. She's going into offensive mode here. So now, the Calamity Guard barrier is gone for More. How much damage can Pissarro do? 4,300, not too bad here. Removes all the buffs as well, but King Bradley is ready for a Calculated Ren. Can he find it? Yes, he can. It is going to proc the courage on the Pissarro. So decent damage onto Lena as well, who I imagine is probably going to go for a limit break here, and that is exactly what she's going to do. Loves Zephyr. I think this is the first time we've seen this limit break animation, if I'm not mistaken, as it comes through. Protect and Shell onto both might just be enough to allow Pissarro to live 1 more Calculated Ren. We'll have to see, as Dark Haze comes out again, very little damage to this Mont. It is not the Shadow Tether, which we have seen Shadowlings try to use many, many times. I'm not sure if she's in range to get that off, as the Calculated Ren just crushes Pissarro. The Protect won't matter if he's just going to chain up damage here, as the Killer Drain Blade from Mont is good damage onto the Lena as well, and King is looking to be in really good shape for this fight. Shadowlings is going to go down. Fortunately for herself, she does still have the re-raise, and she is coming back, but this is a huge uphill climb if LucianRamz is going to try and win this fight. Princess's Inspiration, though, is going to fully heal the 2 units. Upgraded damage as well. Calculated Ren coming through. This time Shadowlings dodges both. So Pissarro couldn't do it, but Shadowlings can. This is LucianRamz's favorite unit. Can she carry with some of this evasion as Light of Spell Ceiling comes through? Good damage onto the Lena. Shadowlink's going to go for the Shadow Tether. It is enough to kill the Moore, so it is now down to a 2v2. Can Lena keep these units topped up while Shadowlings evades? That is the question, but this is a very bulky Mont to have to get through. I do wonder if he has any more hate, though, as Lena's going to drop, but she has that re-raise crucially. The one thing, though, is it interrupts her spell, which means she does not get a heal off. Can Mont steal the kill here? He's going to go for the Destiny's Cross, which is going to make him near unkillable, as he will get a heal back if he gets low. Lena's going to drop, and King is looking in really good shape to win this fight. Shadowlings needs to land a stop to have a chance. She does that right on cue, though, as the stop lands on King Bradley, but the only way she can win this is on turns. She would have to kill this Bradley and make it 13 actions and somehow be healthier than the Mont. I don't see that happening, but there is a chance. She lands a slash. There's starting to be a chain here. Montleonis, with only 5 actions left, is going to proc Discipline. He doesn't have that guaranteed online. He cannot hit anything, but it's not going to matter as Shadowlynx, with only 2 turns left, is landing a really good slash chain on this Bradley. But it is just a matter of time before this fight is over. Honestly, if it wasn't for the timed action count, I think Shadowlynx would have brought that back because she would have been able to kill Bradley. And obviously, Mont did not have the accuracy to win. So if this went to infinite turns, Shadowlynx would have eventually won this fight. But that is not the case. That is not how things go. So Kansas City Kings end up victorious in this fight between the 5 and 2 teams. Very well played by both. But a huge congratulations to King for picking up another win. Next up, we've got Maughanman's Dirty Slushie versus OdaibaDiver's Odaiba Diving School. And Maughanman, in order to make the playoffs, has to win out the rest of the way to even have a chance. That's going to be easier said than done, though, against Odaiba, who has been on a tear with this specific team. Rugia, Alaya, and Titus. I don't know that anybody has stood in the way of this team yet. It has been very, very strong, and we'll see if it continues to do so, as Alaya is going to get that buff off. Domain of Earth popping off for the Rugia as well is very nice to give him some good AP, defense piercing. Regen, not as important, but it is very strong, as the Wind Veritas TMR comes out from Celis. And obviously against full physical units, it's not super important that she gets that runic ability off. It does give her self-protect, but that's really all that's going to pay off for her. I'm curious to see if that's even turned on as the linearity comes out from the Melnia. And one thing I will say is Maughanman is running in double missile comp for himself. So the aimed fire comes out. This is Ryryu and Melnia versus Alaya and Rugia. Obviously, in terms of the cost of the units, Odaiba's got a little bit of an edge there with the damage units, but Celis might just be a better tank than Titus. Although Titus is very good anti-missile, so we'll have to see how this goes. As Earth Blessing comes out from the Rugia, he's got 120 AP, so he is ready to rain down some damage. As the Runic Blade is still online for Celis, I did wonder about this, if by chance Maughanman would turn this off in order to use the unit attack resist and hate up skill in order to tank more hits, but opts not to go for that there, as Alaya is going to go quick fire stance, gives herself some CT up, and she does have 3 movements, so she does not have that movement down passive here, as the Toxic Vice comes out from Melnia. And I will say, Titus is normally a very good missile tank, but that is decent damage. 3,300 on the hit, also lands the poison. They might be able to get through this tank fairly quickly, as Armbuster going to proc for 2,000. Nice little missile chain started. No disable, though, means Titus is still going to get to play the game, and Rugia is going to play the game as well, with Spread Blast hitting all 3, and that is rough to see them all posted up together here. Alaya might be able to find a barrage on all 3 as well. Is she going to go for it? She's going to go Hail of Bullets instead. It kills the Ryryu, and this is in rough shape here for Maughanman, as they have not been able to do any damage to these backline missile units. Magic Burst is going to do a little bit, but unless Melnia can just pop the hell off here, I don't see it happening. Castigation is going to take out the Titus, or at least proc the Courage. He will die on the next turn to this poison, but I don't know that it's going to matter. Saintly Fortress is going to look cool, but he's going to die to his own hand here as he falls down on the ground. It's down to a 2v2, but I don't know if Melnia has Reflex, and without it, I don't think there's a chance here. Alaya is going to go next. Does she go for another Hail of Bullets? She goes for Armor Borer this time. It's going to land the kill onto the Melnia, and Rugia should be able to finish up this fight, as Odaiba Diving School double missile unit team has just been popping off these last few weeks. Does anybody have an answer to this team? We will find out over the next few weeks, but not right now, as Odaiba Diving School goes 6-2 on the season. We've got 2 more fights to jump into. Fight number 4 this week is going to be Dr. Dickhead's Knobgoblins versus Xeno's Polarity. And it looks like it is the Addison Rae team coming out from the Knobgoblins this time. Xeno rocking the full Mace squad with, it looks like Catrah, Winter Wrath, and Ildira. Ildira is going to pop the Ildira's Theorem right away. This is basically the mage version of the Keenblade here, but it also nullifies a bunch of statuses. It also gives a debuff for Maneater, making the team a lot more tanky. It is very, very strong, as Cheerful Resistance coming out, I think, is going to mitigate the Addison Rae damage a lot. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to have a hard time believing that Dr. Dickhead can get through this Winter Wrath, because I think she's just going to be super tanky versus this other team. but we'll have to see if it ends up that way, as Wake Up Impact coming out from the Eldira, so expecting maybe a little bit of evasion coming out from Dr. Dickhead's side, and that's exactly what we're seeing with the Vistral, and obviously Addison Rae can nullify the Sure Hit. So it looks like the Wake Up Impact, the Elserel TMR, is a nice tech by Xeno here, as Warming Up coming out from the Balo. I think we've seen him run this TMR multiple times. This is Titus's TMR to try and improve that crit chance and crit damage. Needle Toss does barely anything. It does drop the unit attack resist, though, which could amplify other damage coming in later. Height 2 Holy, is the accuracy there? Yes, it is. 4,900. It's going to do a good chunk. Soul Regram is here for the Addison Rae, though, so she's going to have her courage. She's going to have a heal back. And I don't think there's any courage removal from Xeno's team, which is important, as the Calamity Guards gets refreshed onto all 3 units here. As the Winter Wrath going to go next, Holy Knight Triad starts a big old Pierce Chain, and Vistral is down for the count already. Xeno looking very promising in this fight here, as Ildira is going to go Height 2 Resistivity. Those status resistances, or rather damage resistance, is not going to be super important, I don't think, as the Dark Fina TMR comes out from the Addison Rae, but she's going to have to put in so much work to turn this fight, as Balo is a strong tank, but only 10,000 health at the moment. How much can he tank up? As Katia is going to start channeling another spell, Dispelling Violet onto the Balo, does 2,700, removes buffs as well. Dual Veil Dark and Earth going to make this Winter Wrath, even tankier versus the Balo, and honestly, Eldira doing 5k to Addison Rae is a very good start. Go Viral returns just as much damage, but a little more actually, as it looks like Katia is going to approach to try and get a heal onto this Eldira. Winter Wrath with the Magical Strike. His damage onto the Balo again. Curative Prayer is going to top up this Eldira. And the accuracy is just there for Xeno's team. And when the accuracy is there, I think this team from Dr. Dickhead is going to suffer, as Height-based Water is going to protect their courage. The heal back is there from Addison, but can she get anything done? She goes for the Jamming Thrust. I thought she might have an opportunity for a very large limit break there, but doesn't opt for it. Maybe because of high AoE res. I don't know what the other answer would be, as it looks like Winter Wrath is going to go for a limit break of her own. Star Spangled Surprise coming out. This is a double single target attack, which is also very useful when you have high AoE resist, and says, hey, Addison, your limit break that slows, I've got one of those too. As Curative Prayer comes out, Eldira is going to be fully healed, and this fight is all but over here, guys. This Height 2 Holy is going to take out both units. Balo does have his Super Balo re-raise, but he's going to need a lot more than that. I think he needs about 5 Super Balos to try and turn this fight, as he's going to come in with a Sapping Sword, 2,500 damage, just to do a little bit here. Katia, off in no man's land, is just going to watch these other 2 units slowly whittle down this Balo as the Drain Decoration comes out. And if they weren't tanky enough, they're going to be able to absorb some HP as well. Eldira going to hit with a Height 2 Holy, and it should be just a couple more attacks, maybe even just one more before this fight is over with 12 actions left. Magical Strike will take out the Super Balo, and Xeno continues his hot streak over the course of the season. Coming into the fight 5-2, will end today at 6-2. Very, very impressive all season. We've got one more fight to get into though, guys, so let's jump into it. Capping off week 6 for the Heindler League, guys. We're ending in style. We've got a banger between Inquisition and Three-Legged Pants. Daewn and Impaler are both 5-2 on the season, both looking to try and keep the fight up for that top spot, as it looks like Winter Ramada is going to get a buff going. Winter Ravies as well, with the Oceanic Protection buff alongside Perrine. So Icewater, Greatsword, and Fist team versus Impaler's side. Edward Elric, Mariluk, and Dario Horn. Edward Elric going with his Automail's Crux right out of the gate. Gives him that way to Dispel Protect, gives him AP Auto Restore, and it's very, very, very good buff. As long as this TMR that gets used by Impaler doesn't get used on the other side, he will have plenty of AP. Does it get used? We'll have to see here, as Perrine is going to go Raging Waters. Winter Ramada, I think, is going to go for Positioned Prosperity. It looks like AP cost rate down. I think it was Maneater up as well, as the Instill Sealed Endurance comes out from the Winter Ravies. This gives her a nice little physical shield. However, Edward is very good at breaking those shields, and he's going to go King Bradley TMR to get himself nice and hasted up. Fight Like a Pirate comes out for the Mariluk as well, so both of Impaler's strike units are hasted and very, very speedy. Dario, what is he going to go for? Magic Barrier. That won't do much of anything here against these 3 physical units. but still, he can be a decent tank regardless, as Perrine's going to buff. She is not in range to hit this Dario, it looks like, as Impaler is out of buffs as well for this Edward. This map is a little awkward sometimes, as sometimes people will run out of buffs right before the fight starts, but the Holy Knight hijinks is going to come out from the Rabbies. This is a massive limit break, crucially for Impaler, only hits Dario, and look at that Frostbite resistance, as it looks like even the 67% Frostbite doesn't land onto Dario. It deals great damage, but he's still going to have the AP to fight this, as Terra Slash coming in, 2,500. Marluke does not have a way to break the barrier of Winter Rabbies. Can Edward do it? No, actually can only reach the Constricting Cleave. It does barely any damage, but it lands the slow, and that might be the best case scenario for Impaler, as he is still hasted up. But Holy Knight's Judgment comes out from the Winter Rabbies, and if you guys don't know what this does a bunch of damage, and she has her barrier. All of a sudden, Marluke cannot break the barrier. Crucially for Impaler, Edward does not get hit by this, as Dario is going to drop. The limit break from the Winter Ramada seals barrier breaks, which means her stuff can't be broken, except it didn't hit the Edward who has the barrier break. So I assume he is going to go for that wall breaker here. There it is, hitting all 3 units, and that is crucial that that limit break didn't hit him, because now she is vulnerable. Great Slash comes through though, and this is still looking very good for Daewn. Even the slowed Winter Rabbies, she is still getting an opportunity to attack, but Surge Strike, 10,000 damage onto the Perrine. This Marluke is popping the hell off. Winter Ramada going to go next with the pressure hazard. No stop lands. Edward Elric is going to get another opportunity. He gets increased physical damage up. I believe that is because of his piece of equipment. I want to say that's the Trial of Reckoning one, but I'm not sure. Adamantine Pillar is going to take out the Winter Ramada. Is the slow enough? Is he going to lap? Yes, he is. I think he got 3 straight turns before Winter Rabbies gets to act. Can he take her out? Adamantine Pillar is another 4,500 damage, and Edward Elric, because of that Constricting Cleave early in the fight with the slow, ends up pulling off the turn of the fight. I mean, that looked good for Daewn, and then Edward just kind of went nuts there. That was an absolutely crazy fight. I'm really glad we ended on that one. And there were so many what ifs on this fight. If the position was a little different, how much differently this could have went. Again, if Winter Ramada's limit break lands onto Edward, I have zero doubts that Daewn wins this fight. With the barrier break seal, they just cannot get through her very well. It's a 2-hit barrier, and these 2 units, I just don't think they have a way to get through that easily. So the positioning worked out a little bit for Impaler, I'm not going to lie, especially landing that slow, but regardless, very well played by both teams. I mean, just amazingly well done. So let's go ahead and check out the standings. All right, guys, with all the Week 6 battles out of the way for the Heindler League, this is how the standings look, and it is very, very interesting here, as Xeno, King, Impaler, and OdaibaDiver of Polarity, Kansas City Kings, 3-Legged Pants, and Odaiba Diving School are all currently sitting at 6 wins and 2 losses, absolutely crushing it. Xeno currently, though, is sitting in the first place spot, as he has a 2-0 tiebreaker against teams with the same record. He has beaten Impaler and Odaiba head-to-head already. King, currently sitting in second, has a 1-1 tiebreaker record, as I believe he lost to Odaiba but beat Impaler. He has not played Xeno yet, though, so he does control part of that in terms of his own destiny of moving up and Xeno dropping down if he were to win that. Impaler and Odaiba obviously both currently sitting at 1-2, Impaler having beaten Odaiba and lost to the other 2 teams. If the season ended right now, that is our top 4, but obviously Xeno and King still having to play each other can change this drastically. Kayuma, Coach of Seas, LucianRamz of Lone Shadows, and Dawn of Inquisition are all also doing very well with a 5-3 record, looking in prime position to try and make the playoffs, as there's only 3 battles left for all of these teams, currently sitting at 5-3. Playoff chances looking very, very strong, but not promised yet, as Kayuma is currently in 5th, LucianRamz 6th, and Dawn 7th. Snark and Catrah are our final 2 teams who are actually potentially able to make the playoffs. However, they have to win out. I don't think there's any tiebreaker scenario where they can make it at 5-6. There is a certain tiebreaker scenario where either one of them could potentially make it at 6-5, though. So I believe both of these teams have to win all 3 weeks and basically have some things really go their way, because there are a number of obviously top teams. The top 7 all have 5 wins already. So their backs are up against the wall here, but they are not out of it yet. Although Maughanman of Dirty Slushie and Dr. Dickhead of the Knobgoblins, I have Maughanman's number listed as 9th. That's a mistake. He is in 10th, actually. But Maughanman and Dr. Dickhead, unfortunately, will be eliminated from the playoffs. They no longer can make it. Even though Maughanman can go 5-6, with some of these other teams being 5-3, there is no scenario where he could end up 5-6 and still make the top 6. So These are how the standings are, guys, with 3 more battles to go. I think I said this in another video. Originally, our final week was going to be just a double header week, so we were going to be 8 weeks. We are now going to be 9, so there's going to be 3 more weeks of the WDL yet, 1 battle each week, and next week, as I said in the beginning of the video, we're going to be taking off. So it'll be about a month before the regular season is all wrapped up, but I'm looking forward to it, you guys. There's so many teams competing for that top 6. I'm curious to see who makes it. It should be interesting. So thank you guys, as always, so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, and we should have one more video for you guys tomorrow before our break. So thanks again, and have a wonderful day.